I just spent the last month practicing on a left-handed drum set. Now, I myself am a right-handed drummer, but I decided for this month to flip everything backwards to see how much progress I can make. Now, there's a few reasons for doing this. First of all, it just sounded like fun to me, and I really enjoy this sort of musical challenge. But second, I really wanted to improve my ability to lead with the left side. The drums are an instrument where it really pays off to have strong abilities on both sides. And finally, these are strange times, so with all gigs and tours being canceled for the next who knows how long, this is perhaps a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to practice something like this without the external pressure of upcoming tours or concerts to prepare for. So in light of these new times, I thought I'd take advantage of this period to work on something new. And speaking of new things, by the way, today I'm launching my Patreon page, more on that at the end of the video, but if you do want to check out some of the sweet perks you're gonna get as a member, head on over to patreon.com/Shawn Crowder. The very beginning of this challenge was challenging. It was rough. I haven't had that feeling in a long time on the drums, where you sit down and you really can't express anything that you want to. And everything that you play is sloppy. It sounds like you're a beginner because you are a beginner at this thing. And so even the most basic things, such as opening and closing the hi-hat, became monumental challenges to work through. My initial approach to attacking this was at first pretty analytical and like military, like let's do some focused exercises, like let's open the hi-hat on every single different beat and do all the permutations, and like let's really attack this systematically. And I got kind of bored with that after about 20 minutes. So after that, I started playing along to music. And I found that that was a lot more enjoyable, at least in the beginning, because, you know, a lot of the stuff I wanted to work on, like opening and closing my hi-hat, I was being exposed to that in playing along to songs too. So that was something I took away from this, is not to forget to play music. I mean, don't get lost in the technique and the mechanics, which are all good and healthy, but just don't lose perspective. And sometimes you can actually learn a lot while playing music. So I continued with this musical approach for a while, which was great because it was making me practice and I was having fun, but it was also showing me where some of my holes were. And once I identified some of those weaknesses, then I could go do some focused exercises that would target that problem. So at some point I ended up looking through my old drum books and I came across The New Breed, which is a book by Gary Chester. It's a great book. This was one of my favorite drum books when I was first learning how to play, and it's really practical stuff. I mean, stuff you're gonna use all the time in songs. And so I thought I would work through as much of this book as I can on this Lefty kit. And I ended up going through quite a bit of this book, Lefty, where, you know, I had gone through this book as a righty many years ago in high school. But it was really fun to go through this as a lefty, and it turned out to be some really practical stuff that improved my groove playing a lot. Still working on Gary Chester's New Breed, and it's been going really well. This has become kind of my morning routine, is I'll come down here and try and work through at least one or two of these systems first thing in the morning. And, you know, over time that adds up, and that ended up really helping out my lefty playing. But that's not to say I didn't have difficult times. Today I've been having a hard time focusing on the exercises that I normally use as a warm-up. I didn't get a lot of sleep last night, which was kind of the culprit. Maybe I just don't have the same willpower that I normally would. If I am well rested, I can just get down here and power through and do the work that's hard and tedious and boring, but it's the work that's necessary. And today I'm just not feeling up to it. So I'm gonna step away from the drums for a little bit and then try and come back later today and get some work done. But Now, I've had a pretty long-standing interest in open-handed drumming and just balancing the left and right sides in general. I grew up being pretty active doing drumline stuff in high school, and in that world, there's a big emphasis on playing exercises leading with both hands. And so I think that started me off on this path of thinking that it's important to have equal ability with both sides. That started to bleed over into my drum set playing, and I thought, well, maybe I should play lefty as well, or at least play open-handed on a right-handed drum set. And the more I thought about it, the more this approach made sense, and the less sense it made to cross your hands over. I mean, there's really no reason that you should do that other than that's just how everybody else has always done it. I think most of us realize intuitively that playing open-handed is a lot better in a lot of ways. You can play the toms while you play the hi-hat. You have greater dynamic control with the two hands. I think it probably even makes more sense to play lefty on a right-handed drum set than to play righty on a right-handed drum set, just to avoid that crossing over. All right, so I've been practicing today and things have been going really well. And I finished, I think, all of the systems in that book that I want to do. I'm focusing only on the left-handed stuff, which means I can skip, I don't know, maybe 30% of the systems. I have a lot of other things that I'd rather do. For example, going through all these systems again with ghost notes. That's probably gonna be my next move, is to go through these systems again with the added component of the ghost notes. So I continue practicing through the month, keeping a balance of playing music as well as doing exercises. But the final component of my learning experience came from direct real-world application. And this is where I actually had to work on some recordings that I was doing, in the middle of all this. And at first I was really concerned about this. I was thinking, should I switch my drums back? Because I don't want to do a subpar job on this. But I'm actually glad that I stuck with it because I ended up coming up with some pretty cool drum parts that I wouldn't have thought of otherwise on a right-handed drum set. So now I've got kind of a new library of ideas that I came up with on a lefty kit that I actually want to transcribe and learn how to play righty. So the final test for this challenge really is how much am I going to apply what I learned to my playing in the future. There was a time when I was in high school where I really believed that I was going to play open-handed for the rest of my life. I was never going to cross over on the hi-hat again. But I eventually gave up on this dream, ultimately coming to the conclusion that it was just more work than it was worth. And I thought, why am I spending all this time trying to do things with both sides when I could be spending twice as much time, getting better at playing righty? But the fact that I've made such fast progress in this month has really forced me to question the assumption that it's too much work. Because how much work is it? I mean, it's not zero work, but it's also not double the work. If I learn how to play something righty and I want to learn how to play the same thing lefty, it won't take me the same amount of time to learn the thing lefty. It's gonna be less than that. So it's not a doubling of your work. It's also not nothing, but it's somewhere in between, and I don't know what the actual numbers would be. But I must say, I've been pretty astonished at how much progress I've made just in these last 4 weeks. I really didn't expect to get that much more comfortable with lefty stuff. It's also made me re-question some of the assumptions that I've had or made about open-handed playing. So will this be a lasting change? I don't know, but I hope some of it sticks, and I hope that I stick with it. Because again, it does seem like there's a great benefit, and the cost doesn't seem to be as high as I once thought. So that sounds like a great deal to me. And speaking of great deals, today I'm launching my Patreon page. I'm super stoked to share this with you guys. Members will receive access to a lot of really cool benefits, bonus content, early video access, as well as exclusive videos for patrons only. You'll also have access to some drumless play-alongs from my band Sungazer, which are not available anywhere else. But perhaps what I'm most excited about is the community we're building. So all patrons will have access to my Discord server, a members-only community where we can all hang out and discuss ideas, talk about practicing drums, and all learn from each other. So if you enjoy these videos and would like to support this channel, help me make more of these videos and do them more often, head on over to patreon.com/Shawn Crowder. I want to thank you guys for your continued support in whatever form that takes, and thank you for watching.